Hey guys, Moose here. Welcome back to another episode of Stonehearth in our Ascendancy playthrough. Today is March 4th, and we are actually not going to really be talking about a game that came out on March 4th. The options aren't too good, and I have something I want to talk about anyway. If I'm looking at what came out, I think we got Twilight Princess HD came out a couple years back. No, it's only okay, wow, last year. Last year for the Wii U. Probably a waste of money. It's fine. A friend of mine just edited his Steam thing to say that he's playing Breath of the Wild. I should text him that I actually am. Later tonight. I'm not playing it right now. But I will be, because I picked it up for the Wii U. And that's actually kind of what I want to talk about. Why, despite all the shit I'm talking, I am actually going to, or sorry, all the shit I have talked about consoles not running things properly, being being pointless. Despite that, I'm going to be buying a Switch. And that probably sounds hypocritical, and you are right to feel that it maybe is. But I feel, well, one, the disposable income is there. I make enough money that I can afford to. Because basically I don't have any other hobbies, so it's sort of like, well, I could save the money, and it'd be nice to save. I probably should. That'd be the right choice objectively, but at the same time, you know, maybe I want to spoil myself a little and have the console. Because if I get, well, that's no reason. But I pretty much have every Nintendo console, except for the first two. Or I think it was the first two, was it? No, first three maybe. I don't know. I have everything past N64, so whatever that counts for. That's not what I meant. I meant 5. This one's 6. So, I don't know. I don't really feel like I need it, but at the same time, it's gonna be, we're gonna have Fire Emblem Warriors. As much shit as I've talked about Hyrule Warriors being really stupid because of the lag and issues with co-op, I'm like, yeah, maybe it was really good. Like, I thought it was a fantastic game, and maybe for Fire Emblem Warriors they're gonna fix that, and it's not gonna be quite so bad. And Animal Crossing coming back to consoles instead of handhelds is huge to me, and my attitude is like, well, you know, hopefully not that long ago I'm going to be living with, or sorry, hopefully not that long from now I'm going to be living with Karen, and if that happens and we could have a console that has good co-op, and I think probably out of the three, Nintendo generally does the best with co-op. I really would like to have that. I think it'd be awesome to have that kind of co-op and have a Animal Crossing village that we share. I don't think Karen would like that because I'm lazy about pruning, and but I think it'd be really fun to play together. And I think if you can do, I really hope you can both play at the same time. That's going to be a big factor for me, but I hope you can. Kind of look like a monkey. Someone was there. They look shorter than normal because they're on the, yeah, because they're on the scaffolding instead of the wall. But yeah, it really, like, it scratches just the right itches that I can't scratch elsewhere. It still doesn't seem like it's good value to me. It seems like really poor value, but I'm gonna buy it. I know I'm gonna buy it, so why not just do it? Let's do 20. I'm gonna do it eventually, so I might as well pull the trigger. And I went around looking for one today. I'm not really sad that I couldn't find one. It was my own fault. I should have pre-ordered it knowing that I was probably gonna want one. I should have been more honest with myself about my, let's say, desire to have those co-op experiences, and I should have just said, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna pick one up because I am gonna want it. But I was dishonest with myself, and I said, you know, this is stupid, I hate all the, it's not high power enough, etc., etc. And those are all very true. But you know what? I'm probably going to get the co-op enjoyment that I want out of it, so I'm going to get it. And I'm probably also going to buy Breath of the Wild twice, because I just bought it for Wii U, because I couldn't find a Switch today. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So when I do get a Switch, I'll probably pick it up for that. And just, you know, I want the experience where there's no frame rate drop, no dropping frames, no issues like that. Because it's kind of, again, this is the usual thing, I've already talked about it, dropping frames on a console is inexcusable, in my opinion. The whole point of having a console is that you do not drop frames, because it's designed for that hardware. So the idea that they're fucking it up and dropping frames is not okay. Like, that's, you've kind of invalidated, like I've said, I've made this argument hundreds of times, invalidates the entire purpose of having a freaking console in the first place. So yeah, I'm not going to change my opinion about that, but at the same time, you know, I can't resist. You're going to give me a good co-op experience to play with my girlfriend, I'm going to take it. Because there aren't enough of those, and I want more. You know, you can say it's like a family console kind of thing, and yeah, you know what, I may be treating it that way, but that's got merit, you know? I think as a lot of, and I've talked about this before, as a lot of people in my generation who maybe grew up with video games, even to a greater extent than I did, because I never had an NAS, I never had an SNES. I fought long and hard to get the few games that I was able to play as a kid. People who were a lot more into it than me are getting to this age where they're going to be having someone where they just kind of want to settle down and be with their partner. And no, I don't need that. And having a console to do that on, I prefer PC. I'd really prefer PC because, you know, doing it, I have my PC, she has hers, and then we play together. That's better because we control our own setup, and just still having more control is superior. But in lieu of that, if you're going to give me a console to do it on, good enough. I'll take it. It's not as great as I'd like. I would really prefer to have it on PC. But if that's what I can get, then that's what I can get. Ooh, we're getting real close. 285 off. Very close. Took me a lot longer to do that math than it should have, frankly. But yeah, I really, like, if that's where I can get it, then I want it. And I think that's maybe a market that's going to develop and become a lot more popular in the coming years. You've seen, what was it? It was, that cooking game where the really chaotic one where you are putting together food for a restaurant and it's like 2 people. And you can play it solo, but it's like, I don't know how you could ever use those controls and make it work, controlling 2 different entities at one time, doing complex tasks. God, I can't remember what the hell it's called. NL played it with his wife, Kate, a lot. I think Bear Taffy played it with his wife as well. Can't remember. But yeah, like that is... It was a big hit. I mean, that was a really successful game. So, I mean, I didn't pick it up and I don't want to play that one because it seems like a good way to start a fight, but it's still very successful. And people are going to want to have more of those experiences. And you see, these are all the streamers, you know, that I watch anyway, playing with their wives. And I think that's a really underserved market, I think, at this point. I think they could definitely do better. And like right now, we're kind of resorting to, I mean, Karen doesn't mind watching, so basically Karen and I are going to play Breath of the Wild in a few minutes here, and it's mostly just going to be one of us is going to be playing and the other is going to watch, and we're probably still going to have a very fun time with it. Nothing wrong with that, but it would still be nice to have a little bit more of an option for legit co-op instead of just kind of like, well, we both want to kind of play this, so one of us can watch while the other plays. And just to be clear, Karen doesn't mind watching. She actually prefers watching in a lot of cases, so it's not like I'm saying, hey, you don't get to play, I'm going to play, and you can just watch. That's not what's going on. It's... Karen's actually pretty into watching, and I don't understand it at all, and sometimes it bugs me because I want her to play with me when the game actually is co-op. But, you know, everyone's different. She wants to play in a slightly different way. That is completely up to her. There's no way we're going to have enough for this, but let's just do 5. I don't really know why I'm doing that. Is it... Stamina? I don't know. I don't know if, like, the stamina tonic is actually more beneficial than the other one. Maybe it's a... Oh, you guys got in, sneaky fuckers. Alright, looks like we're getting involved already, so I'm not going to stress it. Yeah, they're breaking down our doors, that's real annoying. Kill that guy, please. Did he get that door? Or is it just open? No, he didn't get that door. Okay, lovely. Where's the other asshole? Right there? Alright, we're gonna take him out. I'm not worried about that one. Kick his ass. Very nice. Yeah, I just really think quality co-op experiences are gonna start becoming more and more popular as time goes on here. Because gaming is not such a, like, you know, hey, will you play games? What a nerd. Like, that's not really this reality anymore. It's something that you can share with, you know, people who matter to you. Family. There's a lot more families that'll play games together. I grew up with, it's actually, well, I didn't grow up with her. She was a friend in high school. I'm not gonna get into a name, but she was the daughter of the guy, or one of the guys, who partially made one of the most famous, like, really old school games. I didn't get rich off of it. It was before there was money in it. But it was, like, if you know gaming history, you know this game. It was a big fucking deal. And I did not give it as much attention or credit as I should have at the time. But apparently, based on what she told me, her mom and dad play games together all the fucking time. And, you know, but I mean, they were playing like EverQuest and MMOs and shit. It was a little bit different, but I don't know, maybe that's something I aspire to. Possibly not to that degree. They were, like, really into it. Like, they didn't do much else. Okay, are you fucking serious right now? Look at this crap. So close. Alright, well, we're gonna get there. Let's get our chefs to whip some bread up here. Make 100 each. Let's pop that to the top of the queue. But yeah, I think that kind of a relationship where, you know, maybe you play games more than you watch TV in a relationship. Maybe that's becoming the new norm. I think we're still a ways off of that, but we should give it credit. I think we're getting there. It's becoming much more popular and much more widespread, and at some point that's going to be the norm. And you're more likely to watch or play games and watch TV. And I think we may never get to that point, but I really look forward to that. I think it might be you know, this is getting a little bit too deep into it, but I think to a degree it might actually be favored as a result of the fact that in our day-to-day lives, we live very interactive lives. Not just from a gaming perspective, but we're inundated with information all the time. You can get news anytime you like, any source you like. You get all these things all over the place. So you're used to interacting with stuff, and having like an active relationship with things as opposed to a passive relationship where you have like watching TV is a very passive relationship. You don't really do anything, you just kind of the noises happen and you're listening kind of passively and you just take in the content. With even if you're just reading, that's to a degree that's an active participation, and even more so when you're really like browsing through a selection, you're basically looking at a menu of news items and saying, hey, okay, I want to read about this, this, and this. And there's more investment in that because you're making the choice, and there's more engagement and mental involvement, I think, because you are making the decision to look at something in particular. And I think that changes the way we relax, maybe. Whereas previously, relaxation would just be a very passive action, things like watching TV. You might be actively watching and actively listening, but it's not as, let's say, mentally stimulating as maybe playing a game or even reading. And transitioning to a culture where we do all these things that are much more active, much more interactive, I think gaming benefits from that because it's much more in line with normal activity. To get everyone back here. Do I need no, I don't need acacia seeds, so fuck off. Okay. I'm gonna take it slow. Alright, get in there, kill that guy first. Okay, you're not really hurt. Alright. Alright, now we can speed up. No healers, so this is fine. Let everyone go free, and we just gotta kill these assholes. Should not be an issue. Alright. Yeah, maybe I'm talking out my ass, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I think it's interesting to consider that maybe the way in which we consume information also changes the way in which we relax, and in a way that actually favors interactive experiences such as gaming over more passive experiences such as TV. And I'm maybe giving reading a little bit too much credit. Maybe reading is more passive than I think, and as a result our intake of information is more passive than I think. But I choose to view it as a little bit more of an active participation kind of thing than television is, and I think that's fair. I think I can make a solid argument about that. It's not as active as like a game or something, but it's still more active than TV. And making a decision to say, I'm going to read about this over this, is an active thing and requires actual thought. You don't just click on stuff. Even consuming stuff on Reddit, you mentally have to filter through, like, I don't care about that, I don't care about that, I don't care about it. Oh, this looks interesting. You click on it, read it, maybe read the comments, and you move on. But it's active. You have to think about it and make a decision. And that's a lot more stimulating and interactive than some of the previous forms of entertainment, like I said, such as TV. So, I don't know. Maybe like I said, maybe I'm talking out my ass, but I think there's something to that, and I think that may contribute to the growth of gaming, and also the growth of gaming as something you do together. And hopefully we'll see, right now we're in a board gaming kind of golden age. And believe me, if you're not into board gaming, you should get into it, because there's some amazing stuff out there. And maybe that kind of talent and that skill in making board games will translate over to video game making on PC. And maybe that will turn into something where they can make something that captures that feel, like having stuff on the phone. Phone is a really good example, because most people are going to have a phone and you could play together. Maybe that turns into something that you can do, and you basically have a board game on the phone. You have something like that. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. But anyway, that is going to have to do it for today's episode. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the maybe a little bit pretentious conversation. I found it very interesting anyway. And I hope you'll join us for the next one as well. Take care.